This week was honestly an amazing week. It feels so good to not be sick anymore, and I really leaned into my cozy hobbies this week. For one, I started reading a couple new books, which I already finished, and so I printed out some pictures and I made these really fun journal spreads. I've got a couple of other book spreads that I need to update in here, but I've been trying to really stay on top of this because I love how these pages are looking once they're full of writing. The Love Hypothesis, by the way, was such a good read. I'm on to Love Theoretically now, and I'll let you know what I think about that a little later on. Another thing I picked up was some watercoloring. I haven't really done any watercolor painting in a long time, and I kind of just was playing with colors here and wasn't trying to be too serious about it. I also doodled this little tree, which I'm actually pretty proud of how that turned out. I also did some baking. I made our usual cob loaf that I like to make, and I made tortillas for the first time. I've never made tortillas. I've always wanted to, but they seemed so intimidating, but it was a really easy process. It just took a lot of time to cook them up on the stove. But look at all that. It was so satisfying having a whole stack of homemade tortillas. I also used up some cilantro from the garden for our tacos that night, and it was really special having a homemade meal that also had some fresh herbs from our garden, which, by the way, is looking beautiful. Everything is just getting so vibrant and green, and we've had a bit of rain the past couple days, and I can tell the plants are really enjoying it. I tried to move them into the sunshine for as long as I could, and I'm expecting some flowers to start popping up soon, especially on this rose bush, which is really filled out. The flowers that we do have are these calendulas, but I have been picking them and drying them inside because I'm trying to get enough to have this little jar of tea. And that brings us to where we are today. So I want to get started by talking about my recent reading habit. I just finished reading the Fourth Wing series, which I talked about last time. I still need to fill out these pages, but after that I wanted a kind of like in-between book. I didn't want to read a whole series because I tend to read series, and it's kind of nice to read a one-off book in between. So I read Where the Dark Stands Still. I've seen this book all over the internet, and I will say it was good, but I really struggled to like the characters in the book. It felt kind of like cliche and forced in some ways. Like, I don't know, I just didn't really feel like I knew the main character that well. And the love interest, I get it, but I don't know. I wasn't as into it. I will say, I got hooked on the very last sentence of this book. I won't spoil it. If you read this, there might be spoilers, but the very last sentence, and I closed my Kindle and I just thought to myself, wow, okay, yeah, no, that wasn't bad. So it was a cozy tale, magic, forest, spirits, monsters. It definitely was a palate cleanser, so I did like it, but I gave it a 6 out of 10, so it wasn't my favorite. Now, The Love Hypothesis, this is the first contemporary romance book I've ever read. I've read a lot of fantasy romance, but never a contemporary, like, modern age romance. I gave this an 8.7 out of 10. I really liked this. It was a cozy read. It felt like reading a Hallmark movie where you kind of go into it knowing that there's gonna be miscommunication. There's gonna be a little bit of like cringe to it, but it was sweet. I really loved how their friendship bloomed throughout this story, and that turned into this big love. And I won't spoil it, but if you guys want to talk about it with me in the comments below, let me know, because I thought it was really cute. The final line really got me. It was a nice callback, and it was funny because I finished this book. It was a library book that I checked out, and then I went and got another one of her books, which is Love Theoretically. I'm a little over halfway through. This is where I'm at right now. And while I was picking it up, I was talking to the librarian that was there stacking books, because she had read the book also. And she told me that this started out as a Kylo Ren fanfic. And I thought that was so funny. I had no idea. And now that she mentioned it, it kind of makes sense. But she and I had a really nice chat about books, and she gave me some more recommendations, which I added onto my TBR list. But I have just been plowing through books this week. I think it's partially because of the cozy weather, partially because we still haven't gone to the gym because my son is sick, but I'm not mad about it and I've been really enjoying it. Now, moving into my planner, it's currently Thursday and I've gotten a lot done, but not at the same time. So I've got a lot of cleaning done around the house, but I still need to catch up on a lot of things on my to-do list. I've been procrastinating because a lot of it involves ordering things online, like ordering the save the dates, which we can't agree on a font for, and ordering photos to display for my son's birthday party at the end of the month. I just need to finalize that. The save the date, how do you pick a good cursive font? It is so hard. We are looking at all these different fonts and I just can't decide. So I might go in and find a pre-made template and just plug our stuff in because we need to send them out. I want to stop thinking about it, but those are the big things I still need to do. Maybe I'll work on it later. And then tomorrow, Friday, is when I don't have work, and this is the day that I'm planning on getting a lot of stuff done around the house, like these more project-focused things, like mostly the sewing stuff for my son's birthday. I have these flags I need to make and a happy birthday sign I need to cut out, so I need to stop procrastinating, put my book down, and work on that stuff. But something that's been really helpful for me recently has been my Passport Traveler's Notebook. I started playing around with this idea because I kind of wanted more space for to-do lists, and I also wanted to be a bit messy with it because I do feel pressure sometimes to make my stuff look neat. And in this little booklet, I don't care about neatness, I just kind of write whatever. So I made these little daily spreads where I did my to-do list. I did some journaling at the bottom also, did the weather in the corner. But this is nice because I find sometimes I need to break tasks down into like minute details. In my brain, I am thinking 5 steps ahead. You know, it's like, okay, I need to stand up, I need to get the laundry going. While the laundry's going, I need to do the dishes. After the dishes are done, I need to cook this, or while this is boiling, I could do more dishes. Or like there's a million things going on in my noggin, and I just wanted to write down step by step what I had to do so I could kind of break that paralysis of just going in circles and circles. And this was helpful. This was helpful to have a space to be messy and just write down every little thing. And I did get quite a bit done. So maybe I can find a balance between these two where I can bring this in to my planner and be a little bit more forgiving on if it's not looking perfect. I'm almost debating if next week, instead of doing my usual highlighting during my son's nap times, if maybe I should just have a messy week and be really down and dirty with writing times and those step-by-step getting things done. So this might be a wall of text next week. We'll see how I feel, but that was something I experimented with. Another thing I was experimenting with is this concept of a perfect routine type of thing. So I have these page flags that I could pick up and move around as I needed. I wrote down the things I want to do every day, and then I just moved them around on this time scale. So I go from 5 a.m. to 10, which I would like that to be my wake time, but it's hard to get to bed by 10, I will be honest, or get up by 5. I like to sleep in. My son doesn't. My son's up by 6. So I put all of those things onto these page flags and then moved it around to create a schedule that I think would work well. I just have to kind of stick with it. But I thought this would be a fun idea if any of you are trying to create your own routine, and instead of scribbling all on a bunch of paper, use some page flags and move it around. And then also, as time goes on and I want to change, I could just take it out, replace it, move it, add to it. It's kind of cool. It's a really flexible system. I also color coded, so I did the morning routine stuff in one color, the day-to-day stuff in another, and then the nighttime routine in the darker color. And I think that was really visually pleasing to look at. So I was pretty stoked on how this turned out. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about is in my regular journal. So usually I do these really wordy big journal spreads, but I really enjoyed how this format was looking in my passport. But I'm more and more not liking the idea of holding on to passport size as like an archival book. It just feels too small. I kind of prefer the size of the standard. So that's something I'm thinking about. But I was thinking, how can I get this format in a longer term booklet without my to-do list? Because when I look through my old bullet journals from college, I don't really like seeing my to-do list. They're messy, they aren't relevant. Yeah, they're kind of interesting to see what essay I had due what day, but for memory keeping wise, I'm not that into it. So I don't want to have a to-do list in my standard. It's why I like to keep my planner and my journal separate as well. So my thought process was, I can take the daily gratitude, put it up here, can take the daily weather, put that up here, have a column over here for my journaling thoughts, all of that. And then another thing I want to do on the side here, which I did a little bit in my passport, and this might sound a little woo-woo, but if you believe in God or the universe or signs, whatever, I've been trying to notice these things more, or like synchronicities. And I want to be more aware of the funny little things that pop up in your day-to-day. You know, you're thinking of a person and then they call you, or you have a song stuck in your head and it comes on the radio, that kind of thing. And I thought it'd be fun to have a little strip on the side here where I can write whatever fun, coincidental thing I noticed that day. And there's been a few things already that have popped up and I wrote down. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I like that. It makes me happy to notice. So this is something new I'm playing with. We'll see how I like it, but it's so fun to experiment in my journals. That's a big part of why I like journaling, is because I can try different things and mix it up, and something works for a while and then I want to do something new, and that's totally fine. So this is the new thing that I'm doing at the moment. But that is all for today. I would love to hear what you've been up to in your journal, how things are working out for you. If you have any books that you recommend, please let me know, because I'm on an absolute kick. I got my eye on a Kobo Libra for my birthday potentially, which is like 2 months away, but I want to read more library books. I don't want to support the Kindle powerhouse as much anymore. I want to keep borrowing and supporting the library, so we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that. But that's all for today. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!